Hello, my name's Hemingway Jones. Welcome to the channel. This is our designated area of the internet where we discuss fountain pens, inks, journals and journaling, and sometimes all those topics at once. Thanks for joining me today. I'm coming to you from my library where I'd like to discuss a particular pen today. This pen is one of my favorites. It's an interesting pen. It is an incredible pen to write with. It is manufactured to such incredible specs. It has one of the most magically amazing nibs, and it actually raises the question, can a particular fountain pen be too perfect? If you're a first-time viewer to this channel, welcome. And if you've come back to see me again, it's very nice to see you. So I created this channel so that I could pass on my thoughts, my experiences with these amazing writing instruments. My primary goal is to get you thinking and to get you writing and journaling, because I get so much out of journaling myself. I find it's a fantastic way to grow as a person, so I'd love to see you all take that journey with me. And fountain pens are certainly one of the ways that it will keep you motivated to journal, because they are such extraordinary writing instruments. And the one that we will be speaking about presently is one of the best. This is the Pilot Custom 823. I personally have it up on my pantheon of pens. It's on the Mount Rushmore of pens. I consider it one of those pens that everyone needs to own, or at least needs to experience. It's certainly enough pen to satisfy anyone for the rest of their lives. So if you buy the Custom 823, you could certainly go on and buy a Visconti, you could buy a Mont Blanc, but you know what? You really don't have to. So you can, of course, make that decision for yourself, but this is quite an extraordinary pen. So one of the first things that I'll mention about it, one of the attributes that makes it such an extraordinary pen, is its amazing vac fill system. So this uses the vacuum fill. It does have certain limitations. It comes with a particular bottle of Pilot Blue ink, which is sadly a nice ink. It's what I call a good guy ink. It's not going to hurt you, it's not going to let you down, but it's not very exciting or edgy either. There's not much shading. It looks a bit like the sort of ink that was maybe squeezed out of a ballpoint pen. So the vacuum fill does have a couple of limitations. I find it really needs to be immersed in the ink for it to work properly. And it helps to have a generous bottle, one with a very large opening and one that is nearly full or has quite a bit of ink in it. A vacuum fill, at least for me, is not good if you're trying to get those last few drops out of a bottle, or if a bottle is running quite low in ink and you're just going to shove it in there and hope for the best. Now, one of the nice things about this vac fill is that in comparison to another pen that's pretty popular out there, the TWSBI VAC 700, this is a much more slender and much sleeker pen. It doesn't have the giant bulge in it that the VAC 700 has. So this one feels much more elegant in hand, and it's a little bit lighter and a little bit more easy to wield, if you will. It has a wonderful sense of balance and presence in the hand. One of the things with them providing the bottle of Pilot Blue ink, in my sort of sense of the universe where everything is in order and I'm a bit of a control freak sometimes, it takes a little bit of a push for me to go beyond that particular type of ink to fill this pen, because it just seems like it should go in there. However, to limit yourself to one type of ink is definitely limiting your experience in this hobby. So this is my typical process when I'm trying to decide which ink I want to use. I use my swatches to sort of match up with the pen, and it's very much a process of trying to feel more comfortable with a certain color or a certain ink. Now, today might be a little different because I'm going right for Diplomat Sepia Black. I really like sepia inks, and I feel like it complements the amber quite well. I am tempted to throw something crazy in there, but I think since I am going to use it for a business function tomorrow, I'm going to want it to look a bit conservative, and this will do it for me. So in my intro, I was only half kidding when I said, can a pen be too perfect? And I'll tell you where this applies with the Pilot Custom 823. It's that 14 karat gold nib. In my case, I have it in medium. It is a gorgeous nib. Aesthetically, it is perfectly crafted, perfectly executed. When you write with it, it feels amazing. You get incredible smoothness, yet it also somehow transforms all the little ridges and the aberrations in the page up through your hand. So you get a sense of actually writing, and it's not just a giant pillowy cushion. So those of you that like feedback in a nib, you certainly get it here, and you get it in quite an amazing way. Now, where is the drawback, where that perfection becomes a hindrance? Well, for me, it's the fact that it's almost so smooth and so perfect that I feel like my hand gets a little carried away with itself. I have trouble reining it in a way I don't with other pens. Something like my Mont Blanc 149, I feel like maybe the size of that nib helps me to rein in some of the speed, or some of my other pens as well. I just feel like I have more control over. I feel like this 823 is a bit like someone who buys and drives a Ferrari for the first time, and they pull off the lot and you see them fishtailing on the road, and maybe they have an accident or something because they're not used to that much power. This nib feels quite a bit like that. It is so fast, smooth, and interesting. It's quite easy to get carried away and for my lines to start to get messy. Nevertheless, the experience of writing with it is extraordinary, and I love it as a precision pen, as the type of pen that I take with me on business meetings, and a pen that I can journal with. My hand feels very comfortable writing with it for long periods of time, but I feel like the nib and the pen and the writing experience is so perfect that at times it almost feels like it lacks a little soul. Maybe I'm used to pens that are slightly flawed or have a bit more character, that this pen, being objectively perfect, somehow seems lacking for its perfection. So it's certainly hard to take points off from a pen for being perfect, but for me, with the writing experience, it is so good, so extraordinary, that I almost feel like I'm not working for it hard enough. Now, I do realize that perfection is hardly a criticism of a pen. but I think you guys are getting a sense of my aesthetic, and it's the reason why I do these videos. So I think you'll be able to judge for yourselves based on my opinion. And if you have one, you can certainly let me know what you think in the comments, or if you think I'm way out in left field, which is a place I'm used to being, so I'm okay with that too. Now, objectively, there's a couple of issues. The pen itself might be a little on the boring side. It certainly uses beautiful materials. The gold is amazing. Nevertheless, it's not the most exciting color scheme, even in amber, but it is a gorgeous pen. It's just a bit boring. It does a nice job of hiding the fact that it's a vac fill. Even while vented, it still looks quite nice. And the only other criticism that I'll make is on the cap. The gold band is very thick and lovely, but it leaves quite a bit of the resin or plastic exposed. And I've seen a lot of pens that get dropped and chip between the edge of the cap and whatever metal protecting band it has. And so I kind of wish it had a little lip of gold around its edge just to protect it. I think that would have made it a much more interesting pen aesthetically and would have added to its longevity. Nevertheless, we're all very careful with our pens, so it's only a problem if it actually hits the ground that way. So I've had this pen for about a year now, and I will say that I reach for it very frequently, and every time I do, it's ready to write. It is an extremely reliable pen, and that cap does seal it so that it doesn't dry up. You have to remember, as with any vac-filled pen, that you need to vent it when you write. So you have to unscrew the back a bit, and you'll be able to write for long periods of time without it stopping. Otherwise, you'll find yourself writing, the pen will suddenly stop, and then you'll remember that you were supposed to vent it. The other nice thing about having a vac fill pen is that they're great for traveling. You can seal up the chamber with the plunger, and you'll only have a bit of ink that's in the feed and on the nib. So if you're on a plane and you're worried about your fountain pen ink expanding and it getting all over the place, you can bring this pen, seal it up, and not worry about it. So that is another great attribute to this fantastic pen. So one of the most important things about any pen is the whole idea of who am I when I'm writing with this pen? When do I reach for it and what for? So for me, it is the quintessential business pen. It's fantastic for taking notes at meetings. It's great for signing documents. It's great for any business or official function. It's also a fantastic journaling pen. You can write for very long sessions. It's extremely comfortable. It's light. It's elegant. It is an amazing writing pen. So it is certainly a very good general everyday pen if you're not worried about it getting damaged. So I think the Pilot Custom 823 is one of those pens that anyone who loves this hobby needs to experience for themselves and maybe to own it at one point. I love this pen. I use it very often. And yes, this pen may be too perfect, but sometimes perfection is exactly what I need. So what do you think of the Pilot Custom 823? Do you love it as much as I do? Is it one of the all-time greats? Let me know in the comments. And also, if you could do me a huge favor, please like and subscribe to this channel. I am trying to build this to reach more people. We're having fantastic conversations in the comments. I'm learning so much from you all, and I think that we're really building an interesting experience here on this channel. Thank you for that.
Nicht diese